What's up, Pisces? Welcome to your June 2020 Creativity Tarot reading. My name is Kayleigh Jean, and welcome to my channel. I record these readings for artists, entrepreneurs, and anybody who's working on their personal growth, self-expression, or spirituality in any form. And I also like to just clarify that you can use these readings for your sun, moon, or your rising sign, and it's also possible sometimes if they don't resonate, particularly at the beginning of the month, because a lot of times what I hear from people is that if they come back to the reading at the end of the month, it tends to make a lot more sense once you've already experienced the energies and you can start to see the connection. So that's a really great practice to do, not only with my readings, but with any readings that you listen to here on YouTube or anywhere else, just to kind of understand and get a feel for how your energy plugs into the collective energies. All right, Pisces, I am so excited to share with you what was coming through the meditation because I had some really beautiful feelings coming through. So first of all, I had this impression of almost like a little mouse like running around and I felt like this energy of maybe just like being, I guess, kind of busy, but desiring this almost like to come back to a deeper purpose, if that makes sense. And then I also saw this geometric sort of pattern, and I have to close my eyes kind of until I come back to it, but I was seeing this geometric pattern and it was like unfolding and unfolding, and these angles and patterns were sort of coming out of each other, and then it was almost like I was seeing kind of like the structure of the inside of a plant, and then I sort of am shown this little sprout like coming out of the earth and just opening like two leaves, like opening to the sun. So really beautiful imagery. I think that there's a couple of things going on here from what I can gather from the meditation. One of which is that there is a sense of being quite busy, but desiring or longing to kind of come back to a really strong, firm sense of intentionality with your life. And so I think that June could be a really great time for you to sort of reconnect with that, whether that is maybe writing down your intention for the day before you even get out of bed. That's something that when I'm in the habit of doing it, it really is super helpful to have like a little notebook or a journal next to you on the bed or on like the side table. And then just writing out like what your intention is like for the day. You know, how do you want to interact? What's the greatest purpose that you have on that day? And really contemplating that just for a minute, you know, in the morning is so powerful towards reorienting you towards your highest intention, so that you don't feel like you're sort of always struggling to kind of get through the maintenance flow of your life. Having that clear intention and making that the strongest point, intending that before you start your day is so helpful. So that can be a really great practice for you, or something along those lines in June. Then the other piece with the plant and like the geometric patterns like expanding and evolving out of each other, and then the little sprout going up and having the cute little leaves. I feel like this just feels like such a powerful time for you, Pisces, to really to branch out and to become seen, you know, to pop up, you know, like a daisy out of the snow. We're in spring in the northern hemisphere, but regardless, you know, whether or not your outer environment, your geographical environment echoes that feeling of spring, I do think that there is that archetypal energy that's very active for you, Pisces, right now. So let's go ahead and get into your cards, and we'll get more of a sense of what this energy could look like. Pisces, asking my spirits to help me to read for Pisces. This reading feels really sacred. really strong. Let's take a look at your path and the obstacle. Wow, so your path is the whale and the obstacle or the influence is the elk. I absolutely love both of these cards and both of these creatures. So gorgeous. There's a lot of strength in both of these animals in the way that they show up in their environment. I don't know if you've ever had the privilege of seeing elk in the woods. It's not plural when there's like multiples, but I used to live somewhere where there were wild herds of elk, and they just have this very powerful kind of strength to them. Like they are so much bigger than deer, which were, kind of like the most similar animal that I was used to seeing. And so I was really struck by just the strength that they have and the bulk that they have. Like they're just a very impressive animal. Like they really leave an impression on you. And they have a very calm, peaceful, but at the same time very alert kind of energy to them. So this card also, since it's your influence card and I'm already talking about it, it does have kind of a connection with fatherly energy or grandfatherly energy or father energy in spirit as well. So there could be some kind of, I guess I want to say, either a connection with someone's father who has passed that's coming through in this reading as well, or just recognizing the positive male teachers that one has had in one's lifetime and really recognizing the power of that archetype of, the strong influence, from that side of the spectrum of energy. So when we have this card here, I also feel like there's a really big transformation that you're going through right now, Pisces. And so that's one of the reasons, we have this fire on the antlers of the elk. And there's also this eclipse here. So this is, oh God, this is becoming even more and more profound now that I'm looking at it. We are going into eclipse season, and the first eclipse that we have is on June 5th, which is in Sagittarius, which is your 10th house. So when you have an eclipse in the 10th house, what that can really bring is big changes to your career and to your reputation, to, how you're seen in the world in a professional sense. It's also your biggest contribution or your potential. So symbolically with this eclipse, this lunar eclipse happening there, and we also have the elk card coming up showing an eclipse and showing this fire. It's like you are going through a major transformation at this time. It could be within like the month of June. It could be already starting and you're already aware of it. It could be even coming in a little later. But this eclipse energy, this eclipse season is going to last months. The energies from these upcoming eclipses will last longer than the eclipses themselves, obviously. So this could be marking, a whole new journey for you in your career and showing a big transformation in terms of how you connect spiritually and how you allow yourself to be guided in career decisions and career opportunities in your life. With the eclipse, though, I think of eclipses as almost kind of Uranian influences, okay? So this is where you can liberate yourself or revolutionize your life when it comes to career. That's what we really see here, but you're going to have to be disciplined about it because we have this very fatherly energy with the elk card showing up. It's like there's a sense of really taking on a powerful role and recognizing that anytime there is power, there's going to be responsibility. So when you become a more powerful creator, you have to be more personally accountable and more personally responsible with how you wield that power. So there's going to be thoughts of this going on in your mind over the next couple of months. Now the path that you're walking is the whale. So I see kind of a quiet and gentle strength developing within you, Pisces. And I really do feel that this could be specifically referring to those of you who are involved in, I want to say music, very strongly music and healing arts as well. There's something about the whale energy that really is almost like a very good metaphor for a powerful healer, but they also are very strongly connected to the idea of music because whales also, have a really beautiful song. So there is a lot here in this card that I feel applies to some of you very, very strongly, and for many of you, I think as well, the whale card relates to just this developing sense of trust in yourself, because both of these creatures, they're not necessarily apex predators, right? Because I would say maybe like sharks are the apex predators, or maybe even orca whales. Not necessarily a humpback whale like we see would be like apex predators in the ocean, and then an apex predator within the Elks environment would probably be like a mountain lion. So they're not necessarily apex predators, but they're also not necessarily at the bottom of the food chain either. Like there's a bulkiness and a strength to both of these creatures. So I think that this is also, because they're both showing up and they both have that sort of quiet strength to them, I think that this is also a sign for you, letting you know that you can trust these radical, revolutionary new beginnings that are happening as you have eclipses across, these different parts of your chart, which we're going to get into as we go through your tarot cards. But let's get a sense of where this energy could be headed. So we've got 4 of Cups in the Empress, 10 of Cups, 6 of Pentacles, Page of Cups, 2 of Pentacles, the Lovers, and the Hermit. Interesting. There's a lot going on in this spread that has to do with relationships and family. But my readings typically, I'm a channel through which a lot of career and creativity messages tend to come through. So I always am aware, and I will talk about, family stuff when it comes up in readings, but I also recognize that, because that's my orientation as a reader, there's also a high degree of probability that the messages are going to apply to many of you in a professional sense as well, even when we have very personal, love-oriented or family-oriented cards. So that's just my voice as a reader, and it's part of what, makes me showing up and doing this work a little bit different from anybody else. But I still want to go into things when I see them show up in the spread, because otherwise that wouldn't be authentic either. So let me take a look at this 4 of Cups and the Empress. Interesting that we have these like very homey cards coming up when you have this lunar eclipse in your 10th house of career, right? It's kind of funny to see that. But on the one hand, I feel like maybe there's something having to do with mothering or with caretaking of other people if you're in a healing profession, or if you are involved in childcare in any way, or if you're involved in something empressy, like even the beauty industry or fashion as well. There could be themes here as well. And even if you're not involved in any of those things, Pisces, there's a sense of, with the first week, there's a sense of recognizing that maybe something isn't quite there that you want. And this is the 3. The Empress is number 3 of the major arcana, and there's 3 cups that are on the ground in front of this person, and then there's a 4th cup that's being offered. So what we see actually is like 2 sets of 3s, right? We've got 3 here, we've got 3 here, and then we've got this new energy coming into the picture with this hand offering an extra cup to this person who has their arms crossed and their legs crossed. So one of the things I get is almost like that it feels like some of you in that first week of June are receiving, or that life is offering you something that's very dynamic, but for some reason you may not be thinking that it's the right thing for you at first. Some of you could be pretty comfortable in what you're doing, even though you know that you have more desires, or you're grateful. With the Empress, you're grateful for what you have. You have an earnest gratitude and appreciation for where you are in your life, but you also are being kind of tasked with this idea of like seeing something from another perspective, or you're recognizing that maybe some piece is missing, and there's going to be solutions coming to you that will help you to bring that missing piece in. But I think that the first reaction that you have is going to be that, oh, that wouldn't work, or you're going to maybe like kind of shut it down a little bit, and that might be because there's genuine issues with implementation, with like the whatever solution, or maybe it's like a job opportunity or a career opportunity, or even just like a financial opportunity in the moment that you're like thinking, maybe you have like a desire for a lifestyle, or you have a dream or a goal, Pisces, and you're thinking about how to get yourself there, and you have a very clear vision, because Pisces do have a very clear inner vision, very clear. You're a Jupiter ruled sign, in my opinion, in the traditional schema. And so you have that ability, similar to Sagittarius, to really think large and far and to visualize very clearly. But I think that maybe there's something missing in terms of like your implementation steps. And so there's something coming through here in the first week that's really important, which is why I'm spending a lot of time on this. It feels to me like somebody's offering you either like a way to improve your financial situation, or to create more stability within your investments if you're like an investor. It's also maybe a temporary kind of detour, or a temporary like taking a side road is also what I'm seeing. Like Spirit is kind of showing me like a side road, or a back road, or like an alley that you could take that runs along the main road, and it goes the same direction, but it goes in a different way. And so I feel like Spirit is communicating that you're going to initially resist this because you think that it's not related to what you actually want. You think that it doesn't fit into your picture, but what you don't know is that it does fit. It just takes a more circumspect route, but you don't realize that the circumspect route is actually the fastest way. Okay, so it might mean that you temporarily derail something, but it's for something good, like something really good can come of it. Okay, so that's the message that I get. It's a very deep message. You're going to be questioning your immediate, like, knee-jerk responses to things. And I see you still kind of dealing with that even after that lunar eclipse happens on the 5th, because we have the 10 of Cups and the 6 of Pentacles. So this also kind of makes me wonder if there's going to be like thoughts around family resources. I'll talk about this first in the context of if the 10 of Cups, which is like a family card, if it's referring to your literal family, like your household, or even your family of origin, perhaps. But it feels to me like whoever you live with or whoever you share resources with, there's some kind of negotiations going on with them in the second week of June. And this doesn't mean at all that it's a bad thing. I think in some ways this could be about actually recognizing that you need to allow yourself to be supported in some way, Pisces, if you have been really supporting other people, or you've really been like more than pulling your own weight for the last few years, or if you've just been really responsible and a really productive member of a group or a household. I think it's possible that with the 6 of Pentacles, you could have a need come up. Like maybe, let's say you're a really busy parent and you want to attend a workshop that you think is going to help move you forward in your career. This could be about like saying, hey, I know I've been watching the kids a lot lately, and I know that this is technically like not the time when I'm allowed to ask for this, or it doesn't quite fit into like our agreements. Like maybe you're speaking to your spouse here, but just take this as like an overall metaphor for whatever your situation is. It's like that you're kind of asking for something that's not really related to what you already have agreed to with your spouse, or with a business partner, or with a family member. But it's okay to ask for that, Pisces, because they feel very supported by you, most likely. And so what I get here is like you might feel like this guy, like begging, but this person they may not really want to hold the scales of justice, in the situation. They may want to support you when you let them know that that's what you need, because they know that you've been there for them. So that could be the situation. Alternatively, for a few of you, the situation could be in reverse, where you might be feeling like there's something that you would like to do, but somebody else is asking you a favor, but they could be offering you something in return, or maybe they've been helping you out. So there's a sense of like balance and harmony and reciprocity. Reciprocity is the right word for the second week of June for you Pisces. You're going to be thinking about reciprocity in your life and really appreciating the relationships that you have that are reciprocal. And you could also be renegotiating some relationships that you maybe feel are not so reciprocal. So, but ultimately with the 10 of Cups, I do think this is going to have a positive outcome, because, you could have just as easily had the 6 of Pentacles with like the 5 of Swords, for example, or, some other card that shows multiple people together, right? But it shows more of a negative outcome. So I don't really think that this is going to be a negative outcome for you Pisces in the second week. I think this is more about you allowing yourself to ask for support, allowing yourself to ask for permission, to be given the opportunity to receive, I guess, is really the message. And I do think that it's possible also that the flow of resources and money is going to be talked about in some way. If you're like a career person, Pisces, and you have a team, or if you co-own a business or something along those lines, there's going to probably be some shuffling when it comes to finances, and there's going to be some money changing hands or different sources of things being redirected somewhere else. But as long as you use good communication skills and you stay in an open, surrendered, kind of trusting, but very confident place within yourself, I think these conversations are all going to be able to be handled smoothly. And I think that you're also going to be able to get the support that you need. So don't be afraid to kind of reorganize some practical things, especially when it comes to money or resources in the second week of June. The third week of June, we have the Page of Cups and the 2 of Pentacles. So there's some really beautiful energy here. One of the things that I do think that you're definitely going to be experiencing is a new excitement in life. So whether this is maybe some kind of exciting new event happening, I almost can hear some of you like opening a letter or opening up your email and being like, oh, like there's like a feeling of like that's being given to me like spiritually right now. That's like, ooh, like there's an excitement, there's a surprise, or there's something that just lifts your spirits. Or with the Page of Cups, it could also be something that you're really enjoying learning about in that third week of June, because all the pages can be students, and the cups are, a suit that I strongly associate with creativity, also spiritual development, psychic development, intuition. All of those kind of occult things as well can be connected to the cup suit. So there's just a sense of, a new spark of excitement coming into your life, and something that really kind of fills your cup, something that's making you feel really joyous. And at the same time, the 2 of Pentacles, I feel like you're kind of dancing with it. Like it's this new thing. You don't know how to completely approach it yet. You feel maybe a little intimidated, or you feel kind of like, ooh, this is cool, but is it for me? Like, ooh, I don't know. There's this kind of question mark in your mind, but I think if you're feeling excited about it, it is. I think it really is for you. And maybe this is even something as simple as in that third week of June, you're just discovering like the most amazing fiction book, And there's something about that, like for me, when it takes me a while. Like if you guys know of any fiction books that you really love, let me know in the comments. I love like fantasy books. I love, fairy tale type, like modern fairy tale kind of stories. I just feel like when I discover a book that really just speaks to my soul, and I'll read it like a little bit in the mornings or the evenings over a period of a couple of weeks, it just does something to me. Like it just wakes me up. It just keeps me in this state of, almost like a little bit of dreaminess, but it just really helps me stay in this really powerful vibration of excitement, and I'm always like looking forward to opening it up again. So maybe there's something like that for you, whether you are a writer strictly, or if you're a musician, maybe you're discovering some amazing music that week, or you're just feeling really uplifted maybe by someone else's creation, and it's also inspiring you, and it's inspiring you to move forward, and it's giving you almost like an archetype or a symbol of like something to reach for, like it's awakening something that's amplified within you, Pisces. And I think you are beginning the process of kind of working with it, you know, with that Two of Pentacles. Now, with the last week of June, we've got the Hermit and the Lovers. So this is really interesting, and again, it kind of echoes some of the energies that we've seen up to this point, with this kind of go between like self and other, which we saw with your reciprocity energy in the second week of June. This is going to be right after that solar eclipse, which happens just a couple hours after the solstice at 0 degrees of Cancer, which I think is so amazing. And it's actually happening for you in your your fifth house, which is your creativity, it's your excitement, it's self-employment, it's flirtation, it's romance, it's so many different things, parenting and working with children as well. So any of those themes could be present, but I really feel like this is going to be stimulating something in your creativity. And so you're going to be feeling the effects of that with the Lovers as well. I would say for some of you, if you are partnered, you could be feeling really frisky with your partner. You might be, if there's a chance that somebody could maybe get pregnant and you don't want that, I would say definitely be careful and use, protection and whatever, because I think when you do have that eclipse happening in the fifth house, there can be a greater emphasis on physical fertility as well. It's creativity on all levels, right? So it's your mental creativity, psychological creativity, but it can also be physical creativity, which is fertility. So just be aware of that if you're a Pisces and you are, somebody who maybe is partnered and you know for sure that you're not ready to have kids or anything like that. Definitely, be sure that you're doing what you can to prevent that from happening. Just, in the off chance that this reading does apply to you, that would be like maybe a good thing to know. With the Lovers though and the Hermit, I feel like this is really about whether you're partnered or not. It's saying that a happy relationship grows out of you being happy with yourself, basically, and having like a good relationship with yourself is an absolute priority. It's an absolute must before having a relationship with anyone else. And you've probably seen this, when I watch, if I ever happen to see, I don't watch a lot of reality TV. I don't watch a lot of TV in general at all, but if I ever see a dating show, like a reality dating show, you can always really feel the people that end up having the best relationships are always the ones that they went into it already seeming more mature than some of the other people on the show. So there's a real sense of, that it starts with you, everything starts with you. And I think that if you are in a relationship and you're happy, this is also saying, own the fact that you're doing your work. Pisces, if you are having a good relationship with your kids or with your spouse or, with your friends or your, partners in business, that's also because of you. And it's because you're getting that time or that you're having that connection with yourself, which is obviously helping you to be more present, more understanding, more compassionate, because you can't be really genuinely and in a grounded way, you can't be compassionate with other people and hold space for them if you're not able to genuinely hold space for you. Otherwise, anytime that you're holding space for someone else, but you don't have the ability to do that within yourself, you're always going to get more burnt out by holding space for other people. But when you can fully be with yourself and you know that you have a really good relationship with yourself, you can show up and be the compassionate, loving, spiritual, high-minded Pisces that you are, and it's not as draining, you know, because you are able to be in that place like within your own energy, so to speak. So you're not taking in more than you need to from others, and you're not pushing out more than you need to onto others, like from an emotional energy perspective. So what I see here is like this interplay, again, this reciprocity, this theme of relating, this theme of balancing out relationships. And also, you know, if you are single or if you're in a relationship and, or let's take it separately. If you're single and you're looking for a relationship, Pisces, there could definitely be relationship energy coming in at the end of the month. But again, the theme is working with the Hermit before you step into the Lovers, or working with the Hermit and solidifying that and enjoying that. It's not just about working on it, but it's like loving it, being it, you know, enjoying being the Hermit, enjoying being with yourself. And then that leads into the Lovers, which is a really powerful card of love, more so than just like the Two of Cups or whatever. This is like a very mature vibration of love, a very like juicy, you know, shown up, you know, kind of love energy. It could also be relating to business partners though. So if that's the case, if you like are looking for collaborations, Pisces, you could go from being the Hermit to being in the Lovers card. You could go from creating things on your own to having some really satisfying creative partnerships at the end of the month. So it all looks really exciting. Let's take a look at your Bob Ross message. Absolutely the most amazing person on the planet ever to walk the planet, I think. He says, that's a crooked tree. We'll send him to Washington. So that's kind of funny. That's a really interesting one. I think this could be also about recognizing your own shadow, Pisces. With the crooked tree message and like, we'll send him to Washington. Like, there's something about that that makes me feel like a chuckle. And I don't know if you've ever seen like interviews with Carl Jung, but what it reminds me of is like Carl Jung, because I feel like when he talks about like aspects of himself that maybe other people wouldn't talk about themselves, like he talked about wanting to beat up one of his teachers like in grade school because he was like a bigger kid and the teacher was really mean to him. But the way that he talked about it, there was like this sense of like he like kind of fully owned the shadow or like the darkness in himself that like wanted to cause this person physical harm, you know. It's like, whoa, this like very learned, you know, professor, but he's talking about, you know, like his more shadow side of himself, but he can do that really candidly because he doesn't have any need to hide it. First of all, it's like integrated. And because he's integrated that in himself, he can see it in other people without making them bad, right? Without saying like, oh, you're a bad person because of blah, blah, blah. Or just criticizing people in a very oversimplified way and falling prey to like political slogans or falling prey to oversimplifications of, you know, the complexity of life on this planet. I feel like this is about owning your crookedness, but in like almost a funny way, you know, in a way that's like, yeah, you know, like there's an element of self-interest in everything that we do, right, as human beings. And maybe part of this energy with all this reciprocity that we're seeing in your reading and thinking about, you know, how you can create more reciprocal relationships in your life and create more balanced relationships. Maybe part of that is also recognizing your willfulness, Pisces, and recognizing your subjectivity as well, and doing that in a way that's totally self-accepting and self-loving, because then you don't have to, you know, hold it against anybody else when they are being subjective and when they are, you know, thinking about things with their own limited ability to perceive reality. You can just kind of accept all of that, you know, more so in everyone, hopefully. And I think, you know, this does present a little bit of a deeper message even than what we got from your tarot cards. So thank you, Bob Ross. Okay, so let's take a look at your surrender card. And we'll close the reading. Okay. Ooh, we got surrender to silence. In quiet meditation or contemplation, Let go and enter the stillness within. Silence can heal and replenish you. So this is beautiful. Having a little bit of a meditation practice in June could be really helpful, and it could surprise you the ways in which having a little meditation practice can actually change your mindset or help you solve or transcend stagnant or difficult life situations that you're dealing with. I think that silence is really a powerful cure, and I love that that came up for you guys. So thank you so much for being here, Pisces. I hope this reading gave you something useful and constructive to think about as you go into the month of June. Thank you so much for being here on my channel. If you'd like to say thank you, please give this video a thumbs up. You can also leave me a little heart emoji below or just write hearts and let me know that you're still with me. I would absolutely love to hear from you guys if you have thoughts on the reading as well. But even just those little emoji comments are just so sweet, and they always brighten my day, and I absolutely love hearing from you guys in any form. So thank you so much for being here, and I am wishing you an amazing month in June. Take really good care of yourselves, and I will talk to you next time.